On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about From Hell I Rise by Kerry King. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And we're back to talk about From Hell I Rise by Kerry King.
Came out a couple of months ago.
If you don't know who Kerry King is, well known as the guitarist for Slayer. I think he's technically their rhythm guitarist, right?
Well, and lead.
First, I guess they get, he and Jeff sort of...
They traded leads.
Yeah, did whatever. They just did whatever.
They just did whatever.
Play guitar or something.
Yeah.
they whoever's song it was or whoever had a good idea, I guess, played lead.
And
maybe.
I mean, you listen to this. If you played this for me and said, "Hey, it's the new Slayer album,"
yeah,
of course, yeah, I believe you 100%.
You mean the guy who was in Slayer for so many years made a solo album and it sounded kind of like Slayer?
Yeah.
That's weird. And the drummer from Slayer was also the drummer on it, and they made a thing that sounded a bit like Slayer.
Like Slayer, yeah.
Wow, I never would have thought.
And they got a Filipino guy to sound almost exactly like the Chilean guy.
To be fair, that the vocalist is from Death Angel.
Yeah.
Which is, not a unknown band,
right,
in its own right. Now, he's not just some random dude.
He's not, no.
But I did notice that. I was just like, he does sound like Tom Araya a bit. They've got the same kind of thing going on. But we'll talk more about the album later on in the episode. First, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I started to watch a movie today, and it's called The Beekeeper with Jason Statham.
Oh, I think I've seen a poster for it.
Right. And I thought it's going to be a fun action movie. Basically, what they did was they rewrote John Wick. But
it's bees instead of a puppy.
It's bees and Clara Huxtable instead of a puppy. But
who's Clara Huxtable?
That would be Felicia Rashad. She was on the Cosby Show. Anyway. Okay. Also, the writing on it, the execution was what's an old term for when you can't walk?
Lame.
Lame. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. It was really lame. I got about an hour into it. I actually forced myself to watch this movie for an entire hour and went, I want that back. Can I please have that hour back?
Can I unsee that? I want that time back so I can do something else with it.
Exactly. I'm not young anymore. I don't have a lot of hours left. And I especially don't have that
and
one.
You used one of them.
Yeah.
On The Beekeeper. Starring Jason Statham. I can't do a Jason Statham.
It's Jason Statham. He's got his voices up here.
Yeah.
I have to really think about Jason Statham. It doesn't come out naturally.
His voice is up here.
Yeah, and
he's Jason Statham,
and he kind of tones down the British accent in this movie,
really,
to sound a little bit British, but not entirely,
but not so British as he usually does.
Right? Yeah, and the plot holes you could fit the moon through these goddamn plot holes. Yeah,
interesting. Well, I will avoid that movie.
Yeah.
You want to know what movie I watched?
Would you watch
for the second time? So I was on vacation, which is why we didn't have an episode last week. I was in Vegas, my yearly summer Vegas vacation.
Yeah.
And one night, we all sat down upstairs at the Airbnb where they had a projector, and I subjected my 7 of my close friends to Cats 2019, and it went great.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was so happy. We of course have an episode where we watched Cats and we talk about our
we
experience.
had an episode, all right.
I think it was my birthday in March of 2020.
Right.
So that about tells you where the world was at. It was March 22nd, 2020.
Yeah.
The world was falling apart, and we went, you know what? Fuck it. Let's watch Cats, not only as a birthday present to me, but also for an episode of the podcast. It's March. It's non-metal month. Fuck it. We'll watch Cats.
Got a nice bottle of scotch.
You got me a lovely bottle of scotch, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
And this was this was pretty similar, just with a bigger audience. And it got all the reactions that I was hoping for, like the big baffling moments, the bizarre CGI, the everyone reacted in a way that made me very happy. It's one of those things where you show a thing that you're very fond of, at least in the case of Cats, a thing I am very fond of. Ironically, because it's bad.
Yeah.
But a thing that you are fond of nonetheless.
Right.
And you show it to one of your friends, and you're hoping that that at the big moments that they have a similar reaction to you. Because you want this thing that means something to you to mean the same thing to these other people. Yeah. And it pretty much all of it went over as I was hoping. Like when they all finally arrive at the theater, right? And old Deuteronomy, Judi Dench's cat, is there, and they start performing in front of her, and she scissors one of her legs up at a 9. She's laying in like a bed, and there's a point where she looks at the camera. I don't think she looks straight at the camera at this moment. She does later in the movie. There's also an earlier moment that I forgot about where she also looks straight down the barrel of the camera that I'd forgotten about. I don't think she's doing it in this instance, but she says Judi Dench. Probably not Judi Dench.
Dame Judi Dench.
Probably someone wearing Judi Dench's face for a moment. Lifts her leg up at a 90-degree angle to her other leg as she's laying down, while cats are around her writhing sensually, because they do that the entire fucking movie.
Right.
And she kicks her leg up high in the air, and everyone went, "No, put that down. Stop it. Why did you do that?" Like the bizarre level of horny throughout the whole thing. Like, not to say that the stage play is not horny.
It's very horny. I mean,
it's very horny, but it feels more subtextual in the stage play from all the clips I've seen. It doesn't feel quite so overt, and I think it's simply because it's a stage play and you don't have so many fucking close-ups.
Right.
Like, and also I think it's a Broadway show. Broadway in general is just kind of horny.
Sure.
Like,
even Turn Off the Dark.
Yes, famously. If you're turned on by horrible injuries.
There are a lot of people that
cast.
Are. Yeah.
But anyway, the people also were baffled when in Jason Derulo, who plays, I believe, the Rum Tum Tugger, when near the climax of his song, he just goes, "Milk!" He just yells "milk" very loud. Yeah. And then everyone runs in and starts lapping up milk because they're cats. But the thing is, they're not cats.
No, they have hands.
They're humans that have a layer of digital fur over them, and seeing them lower their faces to a bowl of milk and start lapping it up is uncomfortable.
Very much so.
Or in my opinion, the best moment in Cats 2019. The best moment in Cats 2019 as far as sheer shock value is Idris Elba as McCavity, who has this entire movie been wearing a hat and a big fur coat. Right. A huge like fur, like pimp coat almost. He's been wearing it the whole movie. And during Taylor Swift's song, which is all about him, he suddenly apparates on top of this like moon-shaped thing hanging from the ceiling, completely naked. Now, here's the thing. You'd think that wouldn't be weird because all the other cats are naked the entire show.
Well, they're not. You don't see like genitals or anything like that.
But they're not wearing clothes.
Right.
They're because they're cats. Cats don't wear clothes except for the ones that do. Why do some of the cats wear clothes and some of them don't? Like fucking Skimbleshanks is wearing a whole outfit. Grisabella's got a coat on. Fucking Jenny Anydots unzips her cat skin to reveal that she's wearing a sequin vest underneath her cat skin. Why?
It's all just a fever dream anyway. The whole thing.
So, okay, the big moment before I got sidetracked by all of the other little moments is McCavity teleports himself onto this thing completely naked, a visual that is enhanced by the fact that McCavity's cat fur is the exact same shade of brown as Idris Elba's human skin. So he just looks naked. He just looks naked. And it's so shocking because then your brain suddenly your suspension of disbelief is shattered and you're like, oh, they're all naked. Yeah. These are all human beings and they're all naked. And that moment where he suddenly appeared got a massive reaction of like, oh my God, why is he naked? And that made me very happy. That made me very happy to inflict that on my friends.
Yes.
That, and then of course the continuously unfolding horror that is the final song, which consists of Judi Dench singing at you for 5 minutes.
Right.
And I say at you because she is looking directly down the camera the entire time. She's looking straight at the lens into your soul as she goes, a cat is not a dog. And a line like that, you would think, like every time the first time we watched it and this time I was like your brain thinks when they get to that point where they say something as definitive as a cat is not a dog.
Yeah.
You think the song's over. It goes on for another 2 minutes. It's I love that movie. It's a trash fire, but they put some interesting chemicals in the trash that makes the flames weird colors. And I enjoy that a lot. Another movie that we watched that I enjoyed for much better reasons because I think it's just a very good movie, which is a shame because not a lot of people went to go see it. Is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Sure.
Which sort of has at this point famously bombed at the box office. It barely made more than its budget. And I think that's a shame because I think it's a really, really good movie. Chris Hemsworth absolutely steals the show in every scene he's in as Dementus. He is amazing. He's wonderful. I think everybody knows that Chris Hemsworth, can be funny and he's got a ton of charisma. But his absolutely unhinged, wasteland warlord weirdo charisma is off the charts. In a way that a lot of Mad Max villains haven't really had that level of bizarre macho charisma. Like Lord Humongous looks weird, but he's a very he is a very well-spoken, erudite man. I gave you a chance to do as I asked, and you didn't. That's right. All of Lord Humongous's line. He's not funny. Immortan Joe also not very funny.
Right.
But fucking Dementus he's a joy to watch in every one of his scenes. Not to say that like Anya Taylor-Joy is amazing as Furiosa. She's really good. I think that was a great casting. I think she fits very well as a younger version of Charlize Theron's character. But Chris Hemsworth made the movie. He stole the show. And something that I found out today, little clip that I saw, is apparently Chris Hemsworth's dad, Craig, was friends with the like all of the stuntmen and bikers that were the biker gang from the first Mad Max.
Oh, really?
And he was like with them while they were filming. He wasn't on screen, but he like helped out basically behind the scenes.
Wait, which movie are you talking about?
Mad Max 1, the original like Australian
from
only
1979.
release. Yeah, from the 70s. The one that never got like a wide release in the US.
Right.
Because everyone in the US, for the most part, like it wasn't Mad Max the Road Warrior. It was just the Road Warrior, because no one in the US knew what the fuck Mad Max was. Right. And it wouldn't be until later that people outside of Australia got a chance to watch the first one. But anyway, his dad was apparently like involved a little bit in the making of the first one, and I guess he has a cameo actually in the new one as well.
Really?
Which I wouldn't have known.
Does?
Yeah, I wouldn't have known because I don't know who the fuck Chris Hemsworth's dad is.
You don't know Craig?
I don't know Craig. I'm not familiar with Craig's body of work the way that I am with his sons, I guess. But yeah, I thought that was just a neat little thing. But
Chris is Liam's brother, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the more famous Hemsworth,
Liam.
by far, Liam. Everyone's far more familiar with Liam Hemsworth. I guess if you are a small subset of younger person who has watched and loves the Hunger Games movies, but has never seen a single Marvel film. There's somebody like that out there, but I feel like that's a very small subset of people. Like I love the Hunger Games films. I've never seen a single Marvel movie.
You know who's a joy to watch in the Hunger Games movies?
Whomst?
Josh Hutcherson. Is that how you say his name?
Did you say Josh?
Josh Hutcherson.
The first time I swear you said Josh. Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine.
But you know what movie he's not good in?
What?
The fucking Beekeeper.
Oh no, Josh Hutcherson is in The Beekeeper? Yeah. Oh no. He hasn't been in a lot lately.
He hasn't.
He hasn't done a whole lot since the Hunger Games movies wrapped up.
And he's a bad guy.
Josh Hutcherson as a bad guy?
Yeah.
I can't see that at all. I don't, that doesn't, he's got, he's not quite as baby faced as he used to be. I think his jawline is sharpened up a little bit, but I will always see him as being very boyish. I can't take him seriously as a bad guy.
Well, I mean, he plays like he's supposed to be sort of immature.
Okay, because again, this movie is just John Wick but with bees.
Yeah.
So he's fucking. I wanted to say Barry Allen. That's the Flash.
Yeah. He's
the fuck is Jimmy Allen? I think it's Jimmy.
Jimmy Allen.
Yeah. Because he from Game of Thrones.
Oh right,
as well,
right. Yeah.
In the first John Wick movie, the guy kills the dog.
Not Jimmy Allen. It's it's not Jimmy. It's Alan though, because his sister is famous.
Lily Allen.
And he's what the fuck?
You got your phone right there. I know you're just trying to remember to stave off the Alzheimer's, but
I'm trying to keep my brain active.
Exactly.
At this point.
At a certain point, you just need the information. I wanted to say Jimmy sounds right to me, but I think you're correct that it's not right.
Alfie.
What's Jimmy from? Jimmy Allen's
a singer.
Country singer.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. They figured it out. I was like, Jimmy Allen is something.
Yeah. No, Alfie Allen.
Alfie Allen. Because there's the Lily Allen song, Alfie.
Right. It's about her little brother.
Just talking shit about her little brother before he made anything of himself.
Right.
But changing subject, I've continued to play the Elden Ring DLC, making some decent headway in it. Of course, there's a big break there for vacation, but making some decent headway in it. Still I'm having a better time than those first couple of days. That FromSoft acclimation period, one could call it,
right.
Of going, this is too hard. I hate this. Mm-hmm. And then you gotta get that first big victory. And then for me at least, I gotta get that first big victory of an actually like a hard boss. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Your confidence is there now.
I'm in. I've hacked into the mainframe.
So I haven't played the DLC yet. I've been told that it's the hardest thing that FromSoft has ever put out.
It's pretty hard. Mm-hmm. It's pretty hard. So far, I don't know if any of the bosses I've encountered so far have truly presented, when it comes down to it, a challenge greater than some of like the hardest, most difficult times I've had with previous bosses. Mm-hmm. Part of that, I think, just comes down to like Elden Ring gives you a lot of secondary mechanics that you can use that will help things out.
Right.
There, your spirit ashes, and a lot of the boss fights have NPC summons as well, which give the boss more HP, but the distraction can be worth it.
Right.
So, but like there, I don't think there is anyone that has presented as much of a brick wall as certain bosses in the past. Mostly, the one that will always come to mind for bosses that really stopped me in my track is Sister Frida from Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
She was in goddamn nightmare for me. And it took me like 2 weeks. Maybe it wasn't that long, but it sure felt like it.
It felt like a long period for me because
you had to listen to me bitch about
it. You'd walk into work and I'd look and I go, he still hasn't beat her.
He still hasn't done it.
He's grinding his teeth while he makes coffee.
and then you knew I had done it when I walked into work in my black slacks and red polo.
Yeah. Smoking.
I was in my full Tiger Woods regalia. Yeah. I was in my Sunday Tiger outfit. But no, like that boss, so difficult. Mostly because that boss fight is 3 fucking stages.
Oh,
each stage has it's so long. It's such even if you're playing really well, it's an incredibly long boss fight. It's such a fucking slog. And then a boss that provided the blueprint for Sister Frida being Lady Maria.
Sure.
Also,
that's from the first game?
No, that's from Bloodborne.
Well, that is from Bloodborne. That's right. I keep forgetting Bloodborne came out before Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. Bloodborne, Lady Maria beat my ass a lot. And then I took a break for like 3 months to play Baldur's Gate 3. And I came back. Like I think I spent like 5 hours straight the day before Baldur's Gate 3 came out trying to beat Lady Maria. Before I was like, I'm going to stop playing this game for a long time. I want to kill this fucking boss. And I couldn't do it.
You've never got there, have
you? No, I beat Lady Maria.
Oh,
I came back from playing Baldur's Gate 3 and I beat her in 2 tries. I don't know what the fuck happened. But
I used to think it was a problem to switch games because your muscle memory is now a different configuration from what it should be but I find that with like FromSoft games, jumping back and forth makes you a better player.
I think it helps you like unstick yourself from the ruts that kind of develop in your mind.
Right.
Like you get you if you're stuck on a boss, you're like, I've had a bit of success doing this method. I just got to keep doing it until I win. And then sometimes taking a big break and coming back leads to you trying something different that actually works better.
Right.
I think that can be what happens.
Yeah, it's funny. There was, I had, what are they called? The charms?
Talismans.
Yeah. I actually got a good chunk through the game and realized that I didn't have any talismans equipped.
You just didn't have any.
Why is this so hard? Oh, dude,
I haven't been using this item that you're supposed to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. But yeah, I've gotten to Mesmer, who's the sort of the mascot demigod of the DLC.
Right.
Even though, as far as I know, I'm only like halfway through. Like he's the mascot of the DLC. He's like probably the most important figure in the history of the Lands of Shadow. But he's not the reason you're there.
No.
He's just in your way. And it's kind of funny because his voice lines make it sound like he's fucking depressed. Like when he kills you, his heart's not in it. He's like, you'll be consumed by Mesmer's flame. And you can almost hear him like he should say, I guess, after he's done. He just doesn't fucking care.
Whatever.
And it's made me curious, like, what's going on with him? Why he's so sad?
Why are you a sad boy?
I think I know like why he's kind of depressed or unhappy with his situation, because it seems like Marika told him to go on this crusade into the Shadowlands and then fucking trapped him there or something. Like he launched this big crusade and then everyone was like, no, but this whole thing, it's distasteful. So we're just going to sweep it all under the rug and seal that whole land away. And, oh, did we forget something? I'm sure it wasn't important. Meanwhile, Mesmer going, Mom, why can't I go home?
I guess I'm here.
I guess I'll just fucking stay here forever in my gigantic 2,000 foot tall castle. His castle's fucking tall.
Is it really?
It goes up a long way.
But yeah, there are some tall castles in that game.
Some tall castles. His is probably one of the most impressive.
Really?
It's very big. You also fight a hippo in the.
I hear there's a number of hippos.
I've only encountered two. There's one that you can encounter just wandering around a pond. And it's very big. And it was very mean, but it doesn't have like a boss health bar.
Gotcha.
It's just like an NPC. And then the hippo that's in the castle has a boss health bar and a bunch of extra like magic stuff that it can do.
Nice.
So that one was a bit more difficult, but yeah, no, I'm having a good time with Shadow of the Erdtree.
Have you had any of it spoiled for you?
Yeah. So have you, because you were there when it happened.
That's right.
You know who you are, listener. If that hadn't happened, it would have happened yesterday when I got a fucking YouTube recommendation that just fucking put the name of the final boss there, which just seeing the name of the final boss makes you go, wait, what the fuck? What? And maybe I would have pieced it together from story information that I also found yesterday as well, because it starts to become a little like, if you're doing your due diligence and walking around and like collecting items and reading descriptions and talking to NPCs, I think you would be able to piece it together before it's not expected. Like it still feels like it comes a little bit out of left field, but it has interesting implications that I'm excited to try and delve more into once I finish it. But yeah, there's seems to be some interesting stuff, and without spoilers, a lot of the information I've gathered so far seems to repaint Moog in a different light. The guy who seemed to be the most evil being that could possibly exist maybe wasn't quite so bad.
Maybe the Lord of Blood wasn't
at the very least, he was still in charge of a cult where one of the senior members of that cult says, hey, go and murder people.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
No.
But some of the other far less than savory things about Moog maybe were less true or less bad. It's possible.
Does it have anything to do with his brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's more to that story than was obvious in the base game, which is a weird thing to say considering the stuff about Moog. But also, you got to remember, this is lore written by George R.R. Martin, so do keep that in mind.
Yeah. We're gonna open up this story with a man fucking his twin sister
and then pushing a child out of a 10-story building.
All right, go. Yeah.
So, changing subjects to the subject of this episode.
Yes.
Why don't we talk about From Hell I Rise by Kerry King? So Kerry King, as we said, longtime guitarist for Slayer. And now this is his debut solo album.
Right.
And it's what you would expect it to be.
I mean, it feels like where Slayer left off.
Yeah. I don't have any like strong feelings about this. It's just like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
That's, that's not great fodder for episode conversation. But
I know. I mean, obviously, he didn't stretch. I mean,
yeah,
with this, he didn't say, I'm going to add more electronica in here. No, he's
not doing anything wild or like out of left field. Something that you go, wait, Kerry King did what?
Yeah,
like. Kerry seems to me to be the kind of musician that the music he was making with Slayer was the music that he wanted to be making.
Right.
It wasn't one of those cases where you have, a musician that's like, I like making this music with this band just fine. But like, when I'm writing stuff just for myself, it's really different. It's a totally different genre or something like that. And then once they start doing solo stuff, you get to hear that. No, Kerry seems like he was making what he always wanted to make. And you know what? Good for him. And he's like, well, Slayer's done with. The other guys, wanted to retire. But I'm going to keep just doing what we were doing. Right. And this is what we got From Hell I Rise. So in addition to Kerry King on guitar, we also have Mark Osegueda, who's known as the vocalist for Death Angel as well, provides the vocals for this album. Phil Demmel, who you might know from Machine Head and Violence before that, is the other guitarist. Kyle Sanders from a band called Hell Yeah plays bass. And then Paul Bostaff.
I feel like Hell Yeah is no longer, but.
Yeah. Paul Bostaff from Slayer and Testament and
Exodus
and a few other big thrash metal bands.
Right.
Plays drums on this. And it all comes together to a very well written, fun, competently made thrash metal album.
Yep.
But I feel like there's not a ton to say about it in specific, right? Like,
it's okay. It's really good. At the same time, it's really unremarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing about it that's like really special.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the most recent like Cannibal Corpse album, right?
Sure.
Like, it's really good. It's what you expect it to be.
If it was something else, you wouldn't like it.
But also,
yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to go back and listen to it 10 more times.
Right.
It's just, it's a Cannibal Corpse album.
Right.
It wasn't, a weird dumpster fire. It was just, everyone did a good job. At the end. I almost feel bad.
Yeah.
Like I kind of don't have anything to say about it.
No, I'm with you on that. I mean, they all did a great job. One thing I did notice that does kind of stand out on this,
okay,
is like with with Slayer, you had, two lead guitar players.
Yeah.
And they tried to kind of sound alike, whereas Phil Demmel is a different kind of guitar player than Kerry King.
I did notice that some of the guitars sounded a bit unslayer-like.
Right. That would be Phil.
Which, now that you point that out, that would probably be Phil Demmel's influence. I don't recall there being a huge amount of the typical, like, the stereotypical Slayer type guitar solo where
chaos guitar solo.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
That sounds really gnarly, but it's ultimately just a bunch of nonsense.
Right.
I don't recall hearing much of that. But I'm also not super familiar with Slayers, like, with the Church of the Latter-day Slayer. I'm not super familiar with their more recent discography, so I don't know if that sort of thing is something that they stopped doing. It isn't. No, they kept doing it.
They kept doing it.
Okay. There wasn't a lot of that on here. Right. I think most of the guitar solos were a bit more traditional in nature from what I remember. I only listened to it the one time though.
Right.
But so that's there's something that can be said about it. Some more coherent guitar solos. Not to say that like the classic Slayer guitar solo is bad in any way. It's their thing, and it fit their style of music.
Yeah, if
they did something else, you wouldn't like it.
Right.
It's what you expect. So yeah.
I mean, right. Anything else would be, what's that word for when you can't walk?
Paralyzed.
Yes, you'll be paralyzed.
Yeah. Lame. The word was lame. I was trying to make a callback and I said no.
Yeah. Fine.
The opposite of the yes and is the no the no but.
It's the no but. Which that's why I've been called that a lot of times.
Me too. I'm built like Hank Hill.
I look like a frog in pants.
So you have no neck.
Yeah, I have
no ass, skinny legs, and no neck. And a big barrel-shaped torso. That's you.
That's me.
If anyone hasn't seen him in person, that's what he looks like.
Precisely.
His head is huge and wide. His eyes are just bulging out of his sockets.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
Hello, my ragtime girl. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what does this album slap?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely slaps. I don't want to like damn this album with faint praise.
Right.
It's good. It's good. It's just not super remarkable. Speaking of remarks, I had the page pulled up.
Yeah.
And there were a ton of reviews that I should have averaged, but I forgot to do it. I was going to do it, and then I got distracted by a discussion I was having on Discord. And I forgot to put the scores together. It seemed like a lot of them were pretty decent. Like, the lowest I can remember seeing was like a 7.5. I think everything else was 10? Yeah, out of 10.
Out of 100.
7.5 out of 100. Yeah. I don't know why they bothered with the 0.5. If you're rating out of 100, don't do decimals. What the fuck? The lowest I can remember seeing was like a 7.5. Everything else was in the 8s for the most part, as far as stuff that had numbered scores anyway. So I think people were pretty keen on this. People were like, hey, first solo album, he did a good job.
Right.
But what's your favorite song? What's your favorite song on this album? Can you pick one?
I had to look again.
Yeah. This album we've talked so much about being not particularly remarkable. Can you pick one song out of it that you liked more than the other ones?
Let's see. I think Idle Hands was really good.
Idle Hands, okay.
Yeah, that might be.
I picked Shrapnel.
Okay, yeah.
I remember really. I liked the main riff. I thought the lyrics were pretty gnarly and felt distinctly like about something. Not that the lyrics on the other tracks weren't like about anything. There's a fair amount of like political stuff on here,
right?
That sort of thing, but nothing like super poignant or anything like that. It's just typical political thrash metal lyrics. Nothing super poignant or groundbreaking.
Right.
Again. Yeah. So let's just get to it. What metal do you bestow upon this album, like Mascanada's Chewbacca?
It's a solid silver.
Yeah, I agree. It's a solid silver. You'll have a good, if you like thrash metal, you'll have a good time with it.
Are you a Slayer fan? You definitely should listen to this.
Yeah, it's good. You'll have a good time. It's more of what you love. If you're like, man, if you're really sad that Slayer broke up, well, hey. Here's basically more Slayer.
Either listen to this or Diablos and Musica. That was their new metal.
Wow.
Foray.
What did that sound like?
You should pull it up sometime.
Okay. And Slayer does new metal.
Yeah, they in retrospect, looking back, they're like, we shouldn't
have done that.
Yeah.
I saw something relating to Electric Wizard, where apparently after Dope Throne came out, there were some members of the band who were like wanted to go really wide out there of like incorporating other, music influences, and one of them was like scratching and like some new metal stuff.
Yeah.
And who excuse me, whoever like the main guy for Electric Wizard is, I don't remember his name, but he was like, I told them to fuck off.
Yeah,
that's at some point. I don't know if we've ever talked about Dope Throne. It's not an album that I have a ton of experience with, and I'm not trying to say that it's going to be next week's episode, because I don't know what I want us to listen to. I think I had some ideas earlier this week, but I have forgotten them due to jet lag probably. So we will. It'll be a classic Kale surprise next week.
That sounds like the worst main course anybody's ever served anybody.
It's just a pile of leaves. There's no dressing. There's no bacon bits or sesame seeds or croutons or any other greens. It's just a pile of kale leaves.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll figure out what we're listening to by next week. So until you hear from us then, dear listener, why don't you go ahead and follow our pages on Facebook or the website formerly known as Twitter, or why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you're using to listen to us right now. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. On this episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast, we took up
You all right, dude?
No. It's been bad. It's been bad. And I'm suddenly not in a good mood.
Been Bad the Sailor?
Yes, it's been bad the Sailor Man. I just got combined Sinbad and Popeye. He's Sinbad the Sailor Man. He's a big, robust Arabian man
with oddly big forearms.
He eats Popeye. He eats. He eats. I was trying to say he eats spinach.
Yeah, but then it turned. He went to the drive-thru at Popeyes.
I was going to say he consumed the Sailor Man. He killed Popeye and ate his flesh, and that's how he gained his Sailor Man powers.
He physically absorbed him through the mouth.
Yes. He performed a flesh communion with Popeye.
You're making it sound like they fucked now.
Flesh communion. That sounds like some cult thing. We shall perform the ritual of flesh communion. This just sounds like sex. I'm pretty sure it's just. Are we just having sex? No, it's a secret ritual. It's carnal and sensual, and that's just sex. And we're wearing these robes and there's candles and skulls. It's just sex.
You've also got a bubble bath over here. What's going on?
Like, you don't need all this. Like, wait, is this cult just so you can get people to have sex with you?
Well, I mean, okay, to be fair to me, isn't that what most cults are? Isn't it just either a way to get sex and or money or both? That's just what cults are, okay? Don't judge me. It's not like this cult is very successful anyway. You're the only one here.
All right, now I feel better. Just had to be stupid for a bit.
All right.